So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Shamima Begum, and I just want to start this video off by saying, look, she's most likely committed crimes. She joined a goddamn terrorist organization, blah blah blah. She should be punished for these things, and there is a strong chance that she could be punished in Syria and maybe Iraq for some of the things that she's done. And I wouldn't be surprised if she did get a prison sentence in the UK that she'd be extradited to one of those countries to be punished as well. And truth be told, I don't really care that much about her. To be honest, I know people say that she's been groomed and stuff. She was 15. If this was the same kid who joined, a neo-Nazi organization, would you have said the same thing? I don't think so. And the fact that, fair enough, she was a minor at the time, but the fact that she joined a terrorist organization, at 15, you still have, you still can be punished under the law. It's not like, once you're 16, you'll magically know everything. She knew what she did was wrong, and the fact that, she doesn't regret any of it. So, I don't have any sympathy for her. I don't want this video to seem sympathetic towards her. I don't care for anyone who's joined ISIS, but this is a broader topic about things like citizenship and, civil rights and human rights and all that stuff. So with that beginning, let's dig into this. I don't want anyone to think that I actually care, have any sympathy for her, because I don't. And so with that out of the way, let's talk about this. So Shamima Begum can return to the UK to fight for citizenship. So when Sajid Javid was Home Secretary, he revoked her British passport, basically, so she was no longer a citizen of Britain, saying that she could get she was entitled to get citizenship in Bangladesh. Bangladesh was like, oh hell no, she's not a problem, she can't get citizenship here, because the rules are you can, if say like for me, for example, I could have got citizenship in Bangladesh before I was the age of 21. They do make exceptions for people who reach out, probably for like people who are either have money or people who are well educated, to get citizenship in Bangladesh. And obviously you need to know somewhat of the language. I think those are the rules. So I might be able to get it, but I'm a bit older. So anyways, Shamima Begum should be allowed to return to the UK to fight the decision to remove her British citizenship. The Court of Appeal has ruled Miss Begum, now 20, was one of the 3 schoolgirls who left London to join Islamic State group in 2015 in Syria, so she may face charges in Syria as well once they finally fix up their country and get their act together, post-civil war and all that stuff. Her citizenship was revoked by the Home Office on security grounds after she was found in a refugee camp in 2019. The Court of Appeal said she's denied a fair hearing because she could not make the case from a Syrian camp. The Home Office said the decision was disappointing and it would apply for permission to appeal. The ruling means that the government must now find a way to allow the 20-year-old who is currently in Camp Roj, I think that's probably not how you pronounce it, in northern Syria, to appear in court in London, despite saying it would not assist in removing her from Syria. So, she's going to be moved to court in London, but they're not going to help her get from Syria, which is great because that means she won't be able to get here. Lord Justice Fawkes, there's going to be a lot of mispronunciations there, sitting with Lady Justice King and Lord Justice Singh, said, fair and justice must on the facts of this case outweigh the national security concerns, so that the leave to enter appeal should be allowed. The judge also said that the national security concerns about her could be addressed and managed if she returns to United Kingdom, so things like ankle tags, curfews, and her to be monitored around the clock. Former Home Secretary Javid, who made the decision to strip Begum of her citizenship in February, tweeted he was deeply concerned about the judgment. He said, regardless of the outcome of her case, if Miss Begum came to the UK, it will prove impossible. It'd be impossible to subsequently remove her. That's not the case, and he is wrong, I think, in saying this, because she can be extradited to other countries as long as we have an extradition agreement, and also as long as she won't face things like torture and a death penalty. And that's something we'll talk about in a few minutes. I think there's a few other articles I can run through of that one. Begum not afraid of facing justice. Daniel Ferner, Miss Begum's solicitor, said Miss Begum has never had a fair opportunity to give her side of the story. I can't wait to hear her side of the story. It's like, so you joined ISIS? Yeah, I joined because this guy I really liked, and I really wonder what her side of the story is going to be. It's going to be popcorn worthy, I'd assume. She's not afraid of facing British justice. She welcomes it, but that's surprising. She would say that's non-Muslim law, so if she was this hardened terrorist, she probably would say something on those lines. But the stripping of her citizenship without a chance to clear her her name. It's not justice, it is the opposite. Her father, Ahmed Ali, told the BBC that he was delighted with the ruling, adding that he hoped his daughter would get justice, would face justice, I suppose would be more accurate thing to say. The Prime Minister's official spokesman said, while the government doesn't routinely comment on individual cases, the decision it made about Miss Begum had not been taken lightly. He said the government would ensure the safety and security for the UK and will not allow anything to jeopardise this. So he's saying she's a threat, and she probably is, to be honest. Yeah, she probably is. Shamima Begum is not yet packing her bags to return to the UK. There's no government plane warming up the engines at a military airfield to bring the young Eastender home. But the Court of Appeal said it could not have been clearer in its wording. She needs to be allowed to make her case in the interests of justice. This is an unprecedented ruling, and the government has a matter of weeks to convince the Supreme Court to look again. If it stands, it could have major implications to the UK's policy of excluding some British-born IS supporters by depriving them of nationality once they're out of the UK. Scores of these people, all deemed a threat to national security, could seek to return to the UK as they fight their case to get back their British citizenship. Other governments have voluntarily repatriated these fighters and sought to contain their threat through prosecutions, monitoring and intensive de-radicalisation. The UK has so far refused to do the same, so other countries have done it. I think her husband is Dutch and he's been taken back to Holland, and he'll probably face, he's going to be assessed to see if he's a threat. And so Miss Begum's legal team challenged the move on 3 grounds: that it was unlawful because it left her stateless, it exposed her to real risk of death or inhuman and degrading treatment, something we mentioned earlier about, if someone's extradited to another country, they can't face things like torture or death penalties. She could not effectively challenge the decision while she was barred from returning to the UK. And so those 3 make sense. It's illegal to make someone stateless under international law. The second one is something we just mentioned. It's illegal, I think, under British law and EU law as well. And that relates to Abu Qatada. It's important to note I'm not a legal guy. I just try and follow this stuff as best I can, and if I'm wrong on anything, you want to put it in the comments, then feel free. And if you want to throw some personal insults in there, I will not. I will hit back. Other governments have voluntary, so we should cover that. Ms. Begum's legal team, which mentioned that under international law, it is only legal to revoke someone's citizenship if an individual is entitled to citizenship to another country. So that's something we mentioned earlier about the Bangladesh thing, but Bangladesh were like, hell no, we're not going to do that. Get out of it. So in February, a special tribunal, the Special Immigration Appeals Commission, SIAC, ruled that the decision to remove Miss Begum's citizenship was lawful because she was a citizen of Bangladesh by descent. She's understood to have a claim to Bangladeshi nationality through her mother. SIAC, a semi-secret court which hears national security cases, also said that although there were concerns about how Miss Begum could take part in the proceedings in London, those difficulties did not mean that the Home Secretary's decision should be overturned. In this case, Lord Justice Flock said, it is difficult to conceive of any case where a court or tribunal has said we cannot hold a fair trial, but we are going to go on anyways. So she does have a right to Bangladeshi citizenship, but Bangladesh are just like, no, it's not going to happen. Get out of here. Government shared responsibilities. Human rights organisation Liberty, which intervened in Miss Begum's appeal, welcomed the ruling, saying that the right to a fair trial, a fundamental part of our justice system, and equal access to justice must be applied to everyone. Banishing someone is an act of a government shirking responsibilities, and it is critical that cruel and irresponsible government decisions can be properly challenged and overturned. Miss Begum left Bethnal Green in East London, age 15, in 2015. That was such a long time ago, Jesus. Within days, she had crossed the Turkish border and eventually reached the IS headquarters in Raqqa, where she married a Dutch convert recruit. They had 3 children, all of whom have since died. And so the whole point of this is to say that the governments cannot make someone stateless, and there is the point about her having access to, possibly having access to Bangladeshi citizenship. Bangladesh have said no, and I don't know what the rules are around Bangladeshi people getting citizenship. If the government can unilaterally say no to this. So if they say no and we have revoked her citizenship, that means she's effectively stateless. And so the whole point of this isn't to say that she deserves to come here and come here and live a lavish life, is to say that there is a principle in place here. That's the whole point of the law, is to set principles in, and that you can't revoke someone's citizenship like that, and I'm rambling, I know I'm rambling, but the whole point is to say that you can't do certain things, a government can't do certain things, and I think it's right that she faces punishment here, but if the Syrians and or the Kurds if she's committed crimes against them, she should also be extradited over there to face further punishment once her punishment in the UK is over. because she has potentially committed crimes in other countries. And if we look at the Abu Qatada thing, Abu Qatada, a guy who fled to the UK for asylum, here it is. So on November 2012, Special Immigrations Commission (SIAC) upheld Abu Qatada's appeal against deportation and released him on restricted bail conditions. Theresa May said the government would appeal against the decision, and he was deported in 2013 after the UK and Jordanian governments agreed and ratified a treaty satisfying the need for clarification that evidence gained potentially through torture would not be used against him in a forthcoming trial. I think there was further implications against using things like torture against him, and he was ultimately found innocent somehow. I don't know, what the hell was going on in Jordan, or had he actually not committed anything. I don't know. But what I do know is, if she is extradited to one of these countries, there will have to be some sort of agreement in place to say that she will not face torture or the death penalty. But at the same time, I have seen this article here, which talks about officials for the UK government, which has been objecting to the death penalty in the case of the extradition of two British IS fighters who killed Americans in Syria, dropped his case, allowing the pair to be extradited to the US and face American courts. So El Shafi and Alexander Cote were two British nationals who allegedly tortured and murdered more than 24 hostages, including American journalist James Foley, an American journalist who was executed on 2014. The Guardian reported that the UK had formally refused to cooperate with the US because of the fighters' mothers sent an appeal objecting to the death penalty, but since cooperated due to pressure from the Trump administration. The UK has objected to the death penalty on the grounds of Human Rights Act 1998, which says that no British citizen will be subject to the death penalty or executed. To help extradite that guy, El Shafi and Cote, the UK stripped them of their British citizenship and has cooperated with the US State Department. The DOJ supports the measure, especially considering its 2018 memo on extradition, which allowed for the extradition of other nation citizens in cases of terrorism. In 2003, the US Senate Committee on Foreign Relations worked with the UK government, approved a treaty legalising the extradition of UK citizens to face trial in the US, whether or not the laws requesting and requested states place the offence within the same category of offences. I don't know what that means. Meaning that sentencing can come under US law even if the UK abolished the death penalty. And so what's happened here, the UK has caved, and by stripping these people of their citizenship has basically allowed them to face the death penalty. And they could easily have said to the Americans that, look, if you want to punish them, that's fine, but you do this according to our law and they can't be given the death sentence. And so they could do this to anyone. That's the whole point. They could do this to anyone. Any foreign, anyone who's got access to citizenship in another country. I don't know if these guys would. Alexander Cote, I don't know which countries these guys would have access to citizenship, but that's the whole point of, having things like human rights, is to, stop these things from happening. Wherever your beliefs are around like an abhorrent organization like ISIS, that's the whole point of human rights, is to protect everyone. That's why in America you have certain amendments. The right to free speech, so people can say racist things and things like that. That's why you have those protections in place. People will abuse them, but you have it to protect everyone. And so that's why I don't think stripping of her citizenship was the right thing, because it could happen to other minorities. And also maybe, some, English people who may have access to citizenship elsewhere, say if you got like a German grandparent or something like that, or some other relative that's, you can get citizenship through them. And so that's why I think it's a very stupid thing to try and revoke her citizenship. Especially because they can potentially extradite her to other countries where she could face justice in those countries. So it's just, the government are doing this because they want to look all law and ordery and things like that. But when it comes to human rights, the precedents are set. So if this is the case that she is allowed to have her citizenship revoked, that does mean all those other guys will have their citizenship revoked. But it also means that in the future, if someone does commit a crime abroad or whatever, they can have their citizenship revoked. That's the precedent I think this is setting. I'm no expert in this. If you want legal expertise, follow someone like the secret barrister, or I think I can't pronounce his name, Joan Magomi or something like that. He took the government to court last year over Brexit stuff. But look, I've talked for long enough. I really do not care much for her. I do care more about the precedent that's set from this. But at the same time, I don't have any sympathy for anyone who joined ISIS for because they believe that ISIS were the this great organization that were going to do great things. I do have some slight sympathy for the ones who joined for economic reasons. Obviously, wars do decimate countries, and sometimes the only jobs you can get is to support either the rebels, I guess in this case ISIS, or the government, and there's not much leeway in between. And so those are the guys I do have some slight sympathy for, but also you could also flee, you could also try and get out. So I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.